Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. All right, we're starting off with this picture because I just loved it. This was taken in 2016 on the UAE tour. Camilla requested an all-female security team. And these were all women from the armed forces. And this picture was called the most powerful picture of the year. I agree. Love it. And next up, one of my subscribers sent me this. A small local theater is putting on a production in February. This is what they're putting on. You just can't make it up. All right, we have a lot to cover again today, so let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with William. I showed you just like 2 of these pictures the other day, but I hate it when I cover something and then more pictures come out. So I feel like I need to show you the rest. So apparently, Prince William stopped in to visit the NHS staff at Ipswich Hospital and brought cupcakes. He also spent some time with the first responders and the ambulance crew. I just love that. And somebody put up a post that said, we got 30 minutes notice that he was coming. Everybody was in a panic. They're all trying to spiffy themselves up. They're all running in to meet him. And he stayed and took photos with everybody. You can tell he wasn't in and out in 5 minutes. There's no way that he could have spoken to everybody and taken all of these photos. You know what I'm saying? He stayed, he spoke. Then he went on to the hospital. Then he stayed and he spoke with the hospital staff. You know what I mean? But I love this one. Look at this. So these are the cupcakes that a staff member brought. It's hilarious. When your mom calls you while you're eating lunch at school with your friends and says, Prince William's on the screen and he's eating your cupcakes. I'd be a little shocked about that too. Anyway, I love the fact that he not only went, but he took time to talk to everybody, take all the photos. I think it was a wonderful thing, and didn't even care that the one woman FaceTimed a family member while he was sitting there. Love it. All right, moving on. All right, this was another story that I told you about where Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, officially reopened the Livingston Museum. But apparently more photos came out. It was a 4.5-year renovation. And while she was there, she met the Livingston's great-granddaughter, Elsbeth Murdoch, who's 95 years old. Now, after she was done with that, she went to the Six Nations International Rugby match between Scotland and Wales. And this, my friends, is why they call her one of the hardest working royals. The woman never stops. And you can tell that she enjoys her work. She enjoys bringing, people to where they're supposed to be. And again, sticking with Anne, next, Princess Anne went to Cranfield University to officially open the National Flying Laboratory Center Flying Classroom. How cool is that? It's a specially adapted Saab 340B aircraft, which helps students get flight test experience. And as is par for the course, she opened up a plaque and she received a beautiful bouquet of flowers. She's a very busy woman. And next up, we're going back to Sophie again because some more pictures came up again and I wanted to show them to you. She is the patron of the charity called Scar Free World, and she met with female scientists and women with experience of scarring to discuss the research that's being conducted at universities in the UK and at the NHS. All right, moving on to Charles and Camilla. They're saying that while he's great with all of his grandchildren, there is one grandchild that just brings out the best in him, the fun side of him that makes him just, light up, and that supposedly is Prince Louis. He apparently was named after Louis Mountbatten, Charles's uncle that he loved so much. And again, we know he's close with all of the grandchildren in the UK, but just remember that during the Platinum Jubilee, when Louis became fidgety, it was Charles's lap that he wanted to sit on, and it was Louis who threw his arms around Charles's neck in a reciprocal gesture. So then you know they're close behind the scenes. Next up, we know that Sarah Ferguson has been a private person since she divorced Andrew. But in the last 2 years since Prince Philip died, she's more out there. And she's become quite close with Queen Camilla. We know that she's been welcomed back into the fold. She was front and center at the funeral. And this is more than likely, they said, due to her connection with Camilla. She was welcome to join the royal family at Sandringham. You know, for years, Andrew is the one that would take Beatrice and Eugenie to the celebrations, but not Sarah. But now Sarah's out there. We're going to talk more about Sarah in just a minute, okay? All right, moving on now. Harry and Meghan, their recent claims and revelations about the family are literally being described as a sideshow with no impact on the monarchy, which I have to agree. As a matter of fact, their star is falling dramatically while the royal family star is going up. They're calling it a soap opera. I mean, people understand that with privilege comes responsibility. The Queen was a perfect example of this, and Harry and Meghan don't live up to their responsibilities. I agree. All right, moving back to Charles, he's hiring a talent acquisition manager, and the salary is £55,000 a year plus benefits. For those interested, that's a little over $66,000. Now, they're saying that the person must be, quote, adept at using different selection techniques and will even be given training in psychometric assessments. Oh, my goodness. Honestly, that sounds like it might be an interesting job. All right, moving on. All right, here we go. This is the big one that everybody's talking about. Were Harry and Meghan invited to the coronation? The answer is yes, an invitation went out, but they have a limited amount of time with which to respond. There's several scenarios that could happen. Either Harry and Meghan won't show up. If Harry is a man of his word, he won't show up because he said he's not coming unless they apologize to his wife, which isn't going to happen. Or number two, Harry could show up with the children and without Meghan, which we all know would never happen. Or number three, they're both going to show up. Do I think they're both going to show up? Abso-freaking-lutely. Do you really think they're going to pass up the chance to go to the coronation? Now, people are saying that they're going to overshadow the coronation. No, they won't overshadow the coronation. But I do agree with what that one young lady said I showed you in my video the other day. There can't be any booing at the coronation if Harry's not there. There can't be any speculation about where they're going to sit if Harry's not there. The king needs to realize this is a public event, not a private family event. Now, he did invite them because, yes, if he hadn't invited them, they would have been like, look at this. See, the family, look what the family's doing. They didn't even give us an invite. So, yes, they were given an invitation. That is his son. I honestly believe that Charles is counting on Harry to keep to his word. And his word was, until they reach out and apologize to my wife, the ball is in their court. They know what has to be done. Remember, we all heard Harry say that. The royal family is not going to reach out. They're not going to apologize. Look what happened with Jeremy Clarkson. Even if they thought they had done something wrong, which we all know they haven't, even if they did, and they reached out, the apology would never be good enough. They'd throw it back in the royals' face and they would look to the world and go, see, they apologized because they did treat us badly. The family's never going to do that. So they are making scenarios. If Harry does show up with Meghan, where do we put them? If Harry shows up by himself, where do we put them? If they shows up with just the kids are too young to go anyway. But again, what I say is you can't go show shots back and forth between Harry and Camilla if Harry's not there. Other people are going to be uncomfortable sitting next to him knowing that the only conversation they can have is how's the weather. So now the articles are coming out. Meghan will have the perfect excuse for not showing up. And the excuse is that it's Archie's 4th birthday. Like, are you kidding? Give me a break. Like Harry is going to miss his son's 4th birthday party. They'll simply do it the day before the coronation or the day after Harry gets home. You don't miss your father's coronation over a 4-year-old's birthday party, something he won't even remember. That's just an excuse. But the world knows that. Now, at the same time, they're going, well, there's 5 main reasons why Archie may not go. One is his position in the royal line of succession. He's so far down the line, he'll never make it to king. Number 2, he will never be a full-time working royal. Number 3, when they were there in the UK last time, they were completely shrouded in privacy. No pictures allowed except when they wanted pictures just to prove that they were there. Number 4, it's Archie's 4th birthday. Not that that really matters. Sorry. And the final reason is they don't allow photos of their kids. But now, of course, we know that those photos were being taken, but they were being held back for Netflix. They were under contract. Now, the king is still looking to cut costs for the coronation. Some things he couldn't cut, like, the parades and stuff. But here's a 121-year-old seating tradition to cut the cost for the coronation. It's being reported that since 1902, every coronation, they've manufactured thousands of pieces of furniture with the royal cipher, and then afterwards they were either sold to the guests or put up for auction to recoup some of the money. And this showcases the British furniture making industry. This was followed at the investiture of Charles as Prince of Wales of 1969, when the factory was employing disabled people, and they made 4,600 chairs designed by his uncle, Lord Snowdon. Well, they're saying that that's not happening this time around. They're using the regular seating available at Westminster Abbey. All right, moving on. They're saying that Andrew will not have a role to play at the coronation for the simple fact that he's not a working member of the royal family. But there are some discussions apparently taking place behind the scenes about what role, if any, he might perform during the coronation. The king apparently doesn't feel it's appropriate to occlude him. Now, at the same time, Andrew is still a Knight of the Garter, which we know is the order of chivalry that dates back to 1348, and they usually perform significant roles during the coronations. They're not even sure if William and Anne, Andrew, and Edward could perform a job during the coronation. Now, Fergie, it's going to be interested to see what's going on with Fergie and the coronation, because again, I told you we were going to discuss her again. So I love Australian news. Listen to this.
Worth it. Fergie has released a new saucy novel, and she will apparently talk about Meghan and Harry during her US book launch. She has risen like a phoenix from the ashes and back into the good books with the British public. And I trust this will be even more so if she lands a couple of blows on Prince Harry on the way through. Fergie's stocks have risen in inverse correlation to her former husband. Speaking of Andrew, he has been hiding in the broom cupboard of the servants' quarters out the back of St James Palace for the last 18 months. And yet he still finds himself a permanent but unhelpful fixture in the media.
Let me just tell you that one of my big things about Fergie is while her behavior was really bad and everything that she did, she never trashed the monarchy. Not one time. There you go. All right, now let's move on to the lawsuit. Apparently, Meghan Markle is refusing to hand over her messages between her and Oprah. I told you that Oprah was going to be one of the witnesses, along with Jason Knopf, along with Thomas Markle, along with Thomas Markle Jr., Doria. They are going to pull Meghan to the mat on every lie that she has ever told, like ever. But apparently Samantha is trying to get the information, and Meghan is trying hard not to release anything. All kinds of things are going on behind the scenes. It's getting ugly. In the end, she's not going to be able to stop this. She's not going to be able to stop it. I, for one, am going to be very interested to see what comes out. Again, a Pyrrhic victory. I think that Samantha is going to take it to the mattresses. I think she's going to take it all the way. I think the information that's going to come out could be the end of Oprah. I mean, could you imagine telling everybody the questions weren't agreed upon beforehand, only to find out later on from the messages that that was a big fat lie? My goodness. All right, just a few more things. This one where Meghan said she has no problem with the mother's side of the family. Well, that's because she's cut them all off, just like she cut off the father's side of the family. And now it's coming out, all these articles are coming out, that Meghan and Harry have a new strategy. They've hired a new strategist, and they're not going to talk about the royal family anymore. Gee, could that have something to do with the fact that their star is like dropping exponentially? Because the more they whine about the family, the more people are sick of them. So I'm guessing their plan is to hope that everybody forgets all the horrible things they said about the royal family and to just move on with their lives and do the fabulous things that they've been telling everybody for the last 3 years they were going to do, none of which we know that they've done. And we're just supposed to forget everything and move forward. Like, really? So in the meantime, they've paired up with some business gurus. Apparently they met these people at Ellen DeGeneres' party. And apparently what this person claims that he does is he puts them together. So what this guy is what they call a top venture capitalist. So what he does is he introduces stars to small businesses and he puts them together, like the coffee business that she invested in. And the idea is that these businesses will get really big and make them a lot of money. At least that's the idea behind it. And then you see ridiculous stories like this. They're in high demand with the American entertainment industry. That's absolutely a lie. A-listers won't speak to them, won't have anything to do with them, aren't talking to them, except maybe to discuss the weather, because anything that you say or do with them could show up in a book, in an interview. They're not to be trusted. Listen, if the Obamas have pushed you off, that's it. Now, I've told you guys before that they will not be able to redeem themselves with the American public. The Americans are completely ill of them. Like, we don't want to hear from them anymore. And again, Australian news had something to say about that. So listen to this.
The Sussexes, they're in the business of big, bold, brash statements aimed at titillating a US audience as they try and wrangle the best of both worlds. A carefree everyday independence and an active role on the royal scene when it suits them. Despite their desperate attempts to be liked, they are the least popular royals, save for Prince Andrew, which really says something.
So the United States isn't crazy about Meghan and Harry. We're all kind of sick of Meghan and Harry. Their attempt at rebranding is going to be something of a joke. Nobody trusts them. They've been proven liars. And we know how jealous they are. I have never gotten past this clip that showed Meghan giving Catherine nasty looks behind her back during the Queen's funeral. I mean, of all times to be side-eyeing somebody. Remember this? All right, you guys, you know what I want. Leave those comments and make them good. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you've already hit it, please double check and make sure that you're still subscribed. Don't forget to go up into the description box and you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon. Make sure you have them just in case. For those of you who've donated through the coffee fund and through my thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.